Good afternoon, everybody. Hope everybody's doing okay on this kind of gloomy Thursday. But as I was told in Coffee with Tyler, I know it's still March, but April showers bring May flowers. May flowers bring the pilgrims. Thank you to Jim Fry and Arlene for that wonderful joke to get us kicked off. But, you know, right? That was everybody processing April showers bring May flowers. All right, that one. I got Anna way in the back laughing really hard. So, all right. Welcome to this edition of State of the Castle in March already. Quick show of hands. Is anybody here for the first time live State of the Castle? All right, Miss Guinier, welcome.
Well, thank you for remembering my name.
Of course. I misspoke my Coffee with Tyler yesterday, so now it's cemented in the old noggin. So welcome. We have a pretty full agenda today, and then we also have an immediate 2 o'clock event following, which is the appraisal fair. So I hope you're able to stick around for that. Maybe some of you have entered some items in for Sherry Reilly to appraise, so I think that's a great event. So we're going to try and stick to that 2 o'clock time frame or end date, but again, we'll get through the agenda. First one up on the agenda is Kathy Johnson from your resident council, as she will be providing an update on behalf of the resident council. Kathy, take it away.
Hello. Okay, I'll stay put so I don't wander off. Or I said last time I kind of wandered off. So, okay, 4 items. Council elections. We have 9 on the council. 2 people are going off. There's 2 open seats. So you've all gotten information in your boxes. Look at your neighbors. See your friends here. Look at who might be a good person to represent you on the council, and put those nominations in the box. And we will have a ballot for you in April with 7 people to select, 7 positions on the board. So, looking forward. Judy.
There's just 2 vacancies.
Oh, right. There's 2 people staying on for another year. So there's 2 plus 5. So there's 7 altogether. 5 people rerunning for their seats and 2 new positions. Okay? That's straight? If you have any questions about council, don't hesitate to ask any of the council members. Yes?
Is there, when we got all our information when we moved in, is there anywhere in my binder that it would give me the responsibilities of the council? How many times you meet? What's the job description? Or?
There is, yes, that information does happen to be in the resident handbook. Okay. It also, I thought, was in the information I sent you, but if not, meetings once a month and occasional extra projects, which moves into the next item is Earth Day. Marion Frawley and her environmental wellness committee is hard at work presenting, getting together stuff. How many of you remember last year, Earth Day? She did just a fabulous job with multiple days of displays and promotion, presentations, and they're hard at work doing that for this year. Probably not for a whole week, but it'll be at least a few days of information about composting, which will be starting here with the, what are they called? The Compost Crusaders. So all kinds of things going on. So watch for that in April. And if you have any interest in how East Castle operates relative to earth friendliness, please talk to Marion, because that's one thing that she's looking at is how can we help East Castle to be earth friendly in a positive way. Resident directory, I want to do a public expression of thanks to Gil Church, who initiated and really worked on getting your resident picture directories updated, and Judy and Barbara dedicated to helping people get those together. If you don't have your directory, and I know if Judy Hestoff is here, we need to to get that together, and I know Diane Diane needs a whole one. So if you have questions about that, check with Gil. He's happy to talk about the resident directory, but I do want to thank him. He really worked hard on that. And that's the kind of thing that for people on the council, yes, Larry?
Augie, he helped with that
I'm sorry?
project. Augie helped with that project.
And Augie, that's
Thank
right.
you.
Augie did, and yeah, and I was there too.
Thank you.
Yay. Coming to the front. Resident handbook. Tyler has asked the council to look at the resident handbook. How many of you know you have a resident handbook? Okay, find them, look them over, and if there is, you think something missing or that you think is not being addressed thoroughly to your understanding of things, please let me know, so that as we do that, we have the opportunity to get some feedback from you. How do we make that helpful to residents? What kind of information needs to be in there that Tyler and his group have not quite gotten altogether thoroughly in that? So, okay. Any questions at all about anything the council is doing? I appreciate, we've got some members here, and I see some people I know are going to be nominated, so it'll be nice to get some new people on and move forward. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you, Kathy, for the update. I'm actually going to skip around a little bit. I'm going to bring up Mike Brever as he'll share with you why we're skipping around, but also he has a question to answer. So, Mike, take it away.
Thank you, Tyler. Tyler has done me the great favor of switching around because actually 10 minutes ago I was expecting a driver to come up to East Castle and pick up a car that has been donated to us and take it off to auction. So as soon as he shows up, I have to go meet him. The Marshall family has been very generous to us and donated a car. So I'm anticipating that. I do have a question to answer for you, but I have two updates for you. First of all, Kathy just told you a little bit about Earth Week coming up in the month of April. As a service to East Castle Place's efforts with Earth Week, every week I'll have on Quick Trivia some conservation trivia. So if you're on that committee or if any of that interests you, tune into Quick Trivia. That will be focused during the month of April. So tune in on that. Second of all, the other update I have for you before I get to the question, we do have a new coordinator. One of your neighbors has stepped up to the plate and agreed to become the new resident coordinator of the treasure chest. You know, since Bruce and Margaret Berg moved away, we have been looking for someone. Jane Peterson has stepped up to the plate. So if any of you have questions now, you don't have to wait till I come in the next day. You can go right to Jane. Jane and I will have an ongoing dialogue, and I will be able to funnel information through her to you. She'll be able to funnel information through me to you. So check with her at any time. Those of you that are Treasure Chest volunteers and have signed up for April, I put on your shelves today the April schedule. You'll notice that there are vacancies on that schedule. I ask you if you're willing to pick up extra days, or if you're a new volunteer who has never worked the treasure chest before, please don't go to the 3-ring binder at the front desk. I have the master April schedule up in the treasure chest now downstairs. So go down there and write your name down if you're willing to fill in one of the vacancies. I have all the vacancies highlighted in pink on the master sheet downstairs. Next time you're working, or maybe next time bring a friend down, maybe they'd be willing to fill in, but that's it. April is set, and it's downstairs now in the treasure chest. Sometime around mid-April, we're going to get together with the treasure chest volunteers, and we'll talk about the current status of our fundraising efforts, as well as collecting the May and June volunteers. Those schedules are already in the 3-ring binder at the front desk. If you'd like to get a jump on it and put your name in those schedules for May and June already. Now the question that has come to me, what is the status of the speaker system in Lindsay Hall? Where are all those special speakers working? Were all those special speakers working before they started falling off the wall? How and where is the current speaker system? Well, let me begin with the fact that about 2 weeks ago, one of your neighbors, to our surprise and to hers, was hit with one of the speakers when it fell off the wall. In a spirit of utmost caution, to make sure that nobody was hurt by one of the speakers, we took them all down. They all were mounted the same way. If one of them was fragile, they all were in all likelihood fragile. The second issue is they're very expensive speakers. We wanted to make sure that speakers falling didn't get damaged. So we were concerned about that as well. They're in storage right now here. Eric has them safely put away. The entire system is intact yet, with the exception of speakers. The wiring is in the walls, it's in the ceilings. I think you all know that as part of the renovation of East Castle Place, Lindsay Hall is going to be getting a good makeover. And as a result of that, we're not going to hang the speakers in the interim. We're going to wait with a permanent fix on the speakers until then. However, Eric and I and Scott are working out a way to get temporary speakers hooked up to the wiring that we have in here already. Probably within a week or so, we will have a system up and running that will be more than adequate for our use in the interim. But once again, the acoustic system that was installed is still here. It's still intact. It's actually working. It's just not projecting through speakers because we don't have speakers hooked up right now. Can I answer any questions for anybody about that? All right, thank you very much. Eric? Eric's next.
Yep. All right, thank you, Mike. And one note, the resident is okay, and so we have been following up. The speakers are a very light material. The resident had an abrasion on her shoulder. But again, in following up, she appears to, Dr. Backlars is here right now, in the flesh. So again, there you go, range of motion and everything. So again, very unfortunate, and again, we apologize, Mike.
My face mask.
There you go.
Thank you.
My pleasure. All right, thank you, Mike, and again, appreciate the car donation. Now, back to the regularly scheduled program. Eric Peterson has a number of questions that he will answer as well as update us on.
Good afternoon, everyone. I will jump right into the questions that were submitted. I do appreciate those in advance. Gives me a chance to make sure I kind of fully evaluate the response and sometimes deadlines. The first question was, please address the sanitary sewer system overflowing and the terrible smell that has been present throughout the building. So what it is, for those of you who don't know, that is what we call a lift station. So contemporary building has some plumbing areas that are below grade, so the water cannot just drain out to the street with gravity. So it has to go into like a sump pit and it has to get pumped up and out. The biggest contributor to that, so you're not thinking it's all your apartments, because not all your apartments go that way. The main contributor is actually the laundry department in the basement. That's the main one that ends up in that sump pit and then gets pumped up and out. So what happened was on the 11th was our first instance of a backup. It tends to hit the French drain as you're entering into the garage in the contemporary area. We had a plumber come out. The pipes were sheared off from the pumps because there was just a great vibration. Put galvanized piping in there, hooked them back up, and they ran just fine. That didn't last long. They went out again on the following Tuesday. And when that plumber came out, I called a different one, our more regular plumber. They were drawing too many amps. They were just too old. They were drawing too many amps and they were tripping the breaker. And so at that time, Tyler advised me to get a price for replacement right away because we can't have water backing up out of drains here. So we went ahead and did that. And to my great appreciation, it only took 3 or 5 days to get those pumps here. With everything else that takes many weeks and sometimes months, these were available. So those were installed on Tuesday. So that was the last backup we had. We had a little bit Tuesday morning because we had to shut the pumps down to pull them out of the pit. And those were replaced along with the control panel. So that situation should be behind us now instead of just resetting them or repairing something that's an all new system.
Eric, real quick.
Oh, yes.
So that's not sewerage water, it's mainly from the laundry.
Yep. I mean, it's not the cleanest water either because it's coming out of the laundry machines, but yeah, it would not be considered raw sewage coming from people's showers, toilets, things like that to that section of the building, no. Because those, you're all the way up on the first and or second floors, those are going to be gravity fed out to the street. Good question though, because it's good to know. It sure smells like it sometimes. So we seem to have gotten that out of the way. We went ahead and cleaned up down there. We sanitized the ground area where it had backed up and gave it a good pressure washing. Next question. Please comment on the schedule for trash pickup outside. There was some of it earlier this week. I understand one of the residents helped out. I greatly appreciate that. We did send one of our staff around yesterday to go ahead and just walk the property, go ahead and pick up some of the trash that builds up from the winter months and the snow melting. Our PM for that, our schedule, was supposed to start April 1st. Because usually we're still buried in snow at this point, but not as of this time. So I went ahead and got that PM started this week, and then it'll continue twice a week, therefore, moving forward. It also gets to be a bit more regular once the grass cutting begins, because the guys that cut the grass go ahead and do a survey to make sure all the trash is picked up as well. Last question we got was the 4th floor contemporary hallway was starting to be repainted and looks very nice. However, there's been no progress made since, and kind of where is that situation? So the painter did paint started on the 4th floor. They started out by 4308, came down the hallway all the way over to the elevator. At that time, I told them to take a little bit of a break because they were about to paint the area in which we had multiple residents moving out of the 4th floor. Didn't seem like a great idea to paint and then have the walls get scratched up and paint again. So I just told her to take a break. She had 1 or 2 things going on, other projects. So I let her finish those up, and she's coming back next week, Wednesday. And then she'll continue the 4th floor. And once the 4th floor is done, we'll move down to the 3rd floor. And we'll keep pushing along. So, yeah, I thought she did a really nice job. I thought it was clean. I don't see paint over the floor. And to my understanding, she was very courteous, at least with knocking on the doors and painting. And no one has paint on them, so that's the key. Other than that, any questions? Yes?
Did you move the dead squirrel?
I did it happily right away after we talked. I had to move a couple other things out there, so I picked up the poor guy that didn't make it through the winter. So, yeah, he's been laid to rest. All right. Well, thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, Eric. Next up is Majarka. She did not have any questions, but obviously there's been a couple of changes with the food and beverage area, an error in communication on dates that I put out. Redid it last week, so Majarka is going to continue to make sure everybody's in the loop of what's going on and just a few other items. So Majarka, take it away.
Hello, everyone. So we did open to guests. So on Tuesday, we are now open in the dining room for guests. It's limited to 2 guests per family for now. In the future, we do hope to increase that. We are asking that you guys make reservations if you have a guest and that they're made 48 hours in advance. We currently are limiting guests to 10 per day, meaning 5 people could bring 2 guests themselves. So if you really are looking to bring some family members, just give us a call and make a reservation. Lunch service. So we're going to open the dining room for lunch. I know it's been long overdue. So Tuesday, April 5th will be the first day that we're open for lunch. This will start at 11:30 and we will be open until 1. Currently, we're not going to request reservations for lunch. If we get an influx of folks coming to the dining room, we might change that and ask that you make some reservations. So, yes.
Can you bring guests to
You can also bring guests for lunch. So if you're going to bring a guest for lunch, please make a reservation for that. With those changes, we are going to start to charge for deliveries. So April 1st will be the first we start to charge for dinner deliveries. And then April 5th, the day we open for lunch, we will start to charge for lunch deliveries. If you want to pick up your lunch or dinner will be placed in the bistro between 4:45 and 5. And lunch will be placed in the bistro from 12 to 12:15. If you want to pick it up at a different time, you can suggest a time for us and just let us know when you're ordering and we'll put it in the bistro at that time.
No charge for pickup.
No charge for pickup, correct. No charge for
Can I
pickup.
ask one other question?
Yes.
about- Several new people thought the charge could be the points.
The charge, Tyler and I spoke, the charge can be the points.
Oh, all right.
So it'll just be an additional $5 added on to whatever your dinner charges or lunch charges are for that day. And it is again per apartment, it's not per person. We would also like to kind of, for the safety of all of the residents, if you guys need something, please try to stay out of the kitchen. If we have, Mr. Fry probably knows this, if we have forgotten to put your dinner in the bistro at the correct time, please come and chat with the host or talk to the front desk. We've just had some residents in the kitchen lately and it's really unsafe and we would hate for anything to happen. And so once we're kind of out and about at lunchtime, it'll be a lot easier for you to find the staff and ask questions.
Majorca,
Yes,
what are lunch hours?
lunch hours will be 11:30 till 1.
Okay.
Yes,
I
Mr.
just
Woodard.
point out a couple times some things were missing from our order. And we just called the front desk and it was there in 5
Correct. So also we have tried our hardest to make sure that all of the deliveries are correct, but we are far from perfect. So we will sometimes grab the wrong items, maybe put the wrong thing in the wrong person's bag. The best solution for that is to call the front desk because they have immediate contact with you and can come and let us know what's needed. If you call the reservation line, we don't check that till after dinner is done, so it will be some time until we can correct the problem that we had. Yes?
What time does the kitchen close?
Every day's a little bit different, but there is staff in the kitchen every night until roughly about 7:30 or 8 o'clock. Yes.
What will the menu be like? Will it just be like on the lunch menu?
The lunch menu will be the lunch menu that's posted in the bistro that you guys have been ordering from right now. We will have some daily specials. Those daily specials we will attempt to try to post in the bistro in the morning, but we're not going to really announce them weekly like we do the dinner specials because we want a little bit of flexibility to be able to utilize some deals we have on some products and be able to let Tim kind of be a little bit more creative with some things. As you guys have noticed in the bistro, we have an attempt to try to reduce our use of styrofoam, put some coffee mugs. We would really like to encourage that you guys bring your own coffee mug down when you're getting some coffee or utilize the cups that are in there. You can take those cups up to your apartments. We just ask that you bring them back and we will wash them for you as well. And kind of on the whole Earth Choice or the Earth Week topic, I have been asked to kind of demo some Earth Choice products for you guys during Earth Week. Unfortunately, that is right now impossible for us because we are not a customer that uses those products on a regular basis. We can't even get them to get samples because they're so out of stock every place. So as we have some updates with that, we will continue to try to get some of those Earth Choice products so we can try to get away from the styrofoam. But unfortunately, right now, the only to-go product that's available to us is styrofoam or the plastic. So that is, yes.
Except plastic's recycled.
Plastic is recyclable, yes.
So that
so
would be good to get
it is
plastic.
good to get. We're trying, but unfortunately, we're just happy that they're sending us some stuff right now. Yes.
I just think it's important for residents to know that the lovely plastic, heavier plastic,
Correct. The green plastic.
yes,
Those
90% of those items were never returned to the kitchen.
So occasionally, like Mrs. Johnson said, you might get some items in your to-go order that are in the heavy green plastic. Those were purchased before I got here in an attempt to reduce the amount of recyclables that we have. Unfortunately, a lot of them have been lost. We do think some have gotten thrown away. So if you do get them, we do have a bin right next to the dining room. You can put them in or put them outside your room, and when people are walking the halls, we'll get them picked up. So that is all the updates I have. Any other questions? Yes.
One more question on
Yeah.
the green containers. Is there going to be any effort to buy more green containers?
We would love to, but it's a product that's currently not being made.
Awesome. Oh, really?
Yes, it is. Yes. One other small update, which we just kind of discovered today, is cereal will start to look a little bit different in the bistro. We currently, it is hit or miss if we're able to get the individual boxes of cereal. They're sending us bulk, so we have ordered some cereal dispensers, and we will put some bowls out, so you will have to, for a short time, dispense your own cereal if you wish to have some cereal in the morning. At some point, we hope all of the product lines will get back into the way that they should be. Yes. All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mijarka. Can I borrow someone's agenda?
Oh, I stole yours.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. And I believe that's because of a Kellogg strike, right? Unfortunately, there's certain product lines that are down. So, again, I think some of the updates, we definitely have control and we work through it and we improve. And then some are just completely out of our control, like a strike at Kellogg or the Earth products or whatever else. So again, I appreciate Mijarka and Tim's creativity when it comes to that, but I also appreciate your understanding, your patience as we work through some of those things each and every night. Well, I guess that means I'm up next. Because Mike already went and we don't need to hear from him again. So, I saw Mike in the background, so I had to. Unless does anybody have anything for? No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to go. All right. Community COVID neurovirus. I'm very, very pleased at the progress we have made. First and foremost, with neurovirus is really in the rearview mirror at this point for us. We've worked through that. I appreciate everybody's understanding and patience and really compliance as we work through that. We were down for about 2.5 weeks, which again, there's still buildings really in our neighborhood and really in our county that are still down after 4 to 6 weeks dealing with neurovirus as a continued ongoing issue. So I really appreciate your understanding with that as well as your compliance. As far as COVID goes, COVID, again, you'll continue to see the updates. You still see our staff in masks. You as residents are not needing to be in masks if you don't want. Obviously, if you're more comfortable, by all means, please do so. But our staff are going to remain in masks. Again, our staff are roughly 98% vaccinated, but now we're working towards that boosted piece. And so over 45% of our staff are boosted at this point. But again, we need to get that number ticked up a little bit. We're also really guided by the federal and state regulations. And so that's really the umbrella that we're casting for all staff, since many of our staff members go in and out of different healthcare areas. And so working with Ashley Drummond, our director of nursing, along with Lindsay V. Good, our administrator, and other team members, we're guiding our staff as well and really keeping our ear to the ground as far as monitoring the different things that are coming out about COVID. I'm sure you may have seen there is a new variant that has hit the U.S. I'm sure by the time I'm done with this, it may have hit Wisconsin. But again, that variant is very transmissible. The positive, if you can find a silver lining with COVID, is that much like the previous variant, if you are vaccinated or previously have had COVID, it onsets much like a cold. It appears, and it doesn't have the detrimental effects that it did have a 1.5 years or 2 years ago. So again, please, if you have questions regarding COVID, if you're not feeling well for any reason, contact Teresa Jenkins, contact the front desk, and we'll make sure that we follow up with you so that we can make sure that you're taken care of. So now on to the resident questions. Who are the members of East Castle Place Board of Directors? What are their terms of office and how are they selected? I'm not sure how many of you were here. I guess it would be 2 State of the Castles ago when Ken Kernan, our board chair, was here. Ken Kernan, first and foremost, it is a strictly volunteer board of directors. There are currently 9 members, soon to be 11 members, and they're responsible for the governance of East Castle Place. I report to them as well as to LCS, but ultimately they have the authority over the regulatory and the different policies, procedures, and things of that nature that go into East Castle Place. And they are also the ones that provide the fiduciary oversight for East Castle Place. Their terms of offices are 9 years, and it goes back to how nonprofit boards are set up, but it's three-year terms are their limits. Obviously, being that it's voluntary, there's not too much tying that to them, but I will say that they are very invested in East Castle Place and what goes on here for you as residents as well as the campus across the campus. They're selected based on nominations and really volunteerism. So currently, Ken Kernan is the board chair. We have Nancy O'Donnell, who was the former board chair. We'll have a new board chair here in October. Out of the other 8, there's 5 that serve on what we call an executive committee. There's a secretary, a treasurer, a board chair, and 2 members at large. Outside of that, there's committees that work underneath the board of directors, in finance committee, audit committee, health committee, fund development, as well as missing 1 or 2. So the board members, again, they're selected by nominations and by volunteerism, and then they go through the board to be nominated and approved through nominations. If you're curious to know more about the board of directors, again, I think there is a question maybe about, what kind of occupations do they hold. We have attorneys, we have investment individuals, we have a nurse professor, we have a former business individual. So again, a very broad scope of skill set. Many of them are still working as well. So again, if you have questions regarding that or want to get in touch with the board of directors, by all means, come see me, come see Maureen, and we're happy to assist. Mr. Wood.
Are there minimum qualifications that they must fill to serve on the board?
So as far as, do you mean, the question was about minimum qualifications. Do you mean degree-wise, or they have certain...
Business experience, financial experience?
It really varies, and again, that's up to the nominating committee of the board to determine what skill set, if they bring one, or what they bring is needed. In my time, there hasn't been a board member that we said that skill set doesn't qualify, so I don't know kind of that criteria that they would, utilize. Usually somebody that is wanting to be on the board has a skill set and an offering that they want to bring, and ultimately it's that volunteerism and a passion for senior living. All right, my favorite question, the salon. What is the status? So I didn't even look at you, Arlene. I don't know why you're raising your hand. Again, the salon service ended abruptly with our last provider. I'm currently in works with PS Salon to bring them back into East Castle Place. PS Salon operates in senior living for across the nation. They will not be bringing back the previous stylist that was here. PS Salon has done some things in the last 90 days, really 6 months, to help stabilize the operations in their Wisconsin area and Chicagoland area. So again, they're the only provider that I've been confident of their licensure, their standards that have really come forward. And so we're going through the licensure process currently, and we look to have the salons back open in early to late April, and hopefully having hair done here at East Castle Place as the amenity that you deserve and need for you. In the meantime, if you do have hair appointments, we are offering Lyft at no expense to you. So again, if you have that, again, within a 10-mile radius, I don't want to take anybody to New York City or something to get their hair done. But within a 10-mile radius, Lyft can transport you. Again, I've seen a lot of residents come back from Salon Nova. So again, that's that salon that's very conveniently located on Downer Avenue. Again, there's options. You just don't want me doing your hair, so that's why I haven't opened up Tyler's hair care here at East Castle. And then the bank service, another great question, and this is something that I actually have been working, and again, Augie Mortarella and I have been in chats, and it's on me to get back to him. We've been working with, he's been in discussions with US Bank, as he has a tie there, but looking at bringing that banking service back sooner rather than later. Town Bank was the bank that formerly held some office hours here at East Castle Place. That went away with COVID, and they have not reintroduced themselves to East Castle as a banking service, so we're going a different direction with banking services. So, Augie, I just need to chat with you at some point, see if that's still viable. And then the renovation update, and I appreciate these questions because obviously this is something that I wanted to provide as well. And so, again, I'll just read them off and kind of answer them as we go, but was the construction to begin this week? Yes, it was. And then it's construction and it got pushed back. So again, today, for the first time, there was CG Schmidt individuals on site prepping the construction site. The real work, as I believe, did everybody receive the memo last week that I put out with the construction update? You will receive that on a weekly basis. So you'll see another one either late today, if I get to it, or tomorrow morning very early. But I didn't give you dates because I was afraid of what happened actually this week. And so the real construction and abatement that's starting is still scheduled for April 4th. So that is a firm date. But you will start to see walls and construction walls start going up early next week. The entrances and things, as was in the memo, should not be impacted. If it is, it's very temporary. But you will see the Bradford Terrace area begin to be inaccessible beginning Monday of next week, really tomorrow on the second floor. You'll be going up against some walls if you try to get in that area. Again, as I said, safety is the priority both of CG Schmidt as well as us at East Castle Place. So I want to again plug that your safety is paramount here. If we do not have a safe project, we do not have a successful project. It does require a little bit of help from you to make sure that you're not trying to get into areas you're not supposed to. And if you do see something that you feel is not safe related to construction or really across campus, to let us know immediately so that we can rectify that immediately. Members of CG Schmidt will be on site at every hour that they have staff on site. And so again, they will be officed here and you'll start to see them on a regular basis. Are there any floor plans or renderings of what will be happening in Bradford Terrace? So there are not renderings of the actual space like you saw in maybe the welcome centers or what I presented earlier or what's on our website. But do know that it's going to be somewhat of a similar feel. I do have in final stages as of this afternoon some floor plans. We're working towards unit plans that we can share. And as those are available, we'll definitely share those. But we do not have formal artist renderings of that space. The exciting part is in about 4 months, you'll get to see it done, complete, and with your own eyes. So it's a pretty quick turnaround for that space. And again, the general feel of the campus, you'll really start to see with Bradford Terrace, and it will be kind of what's in those renderings. Again, Bradford Terrace, for those of you that may be newer, or just as a reminder, those first and second floors are going to be turned into the administrative offices as well as our assisted living. All of our assisted living currently is in Water Tower. Our first and second floors turn into that, and then we have all of healthcare in one building. So again, we're very excited for that. I know the staff are as well, just from an efficiency standpoint, and just a number of other factors. So there will not be formal artist renderings that you've probably seen, but you will. I will have available floor plans and unit plans if you are interested. Once those become available, again, I'll make a note for Maureen to remind me at the next State of the Castle. Hopefully I'll be able to share those and I'll share them up on the screen. And then the last question, yes, come here.
Will there be formal renderings of what's going on out in the patio area between?
Sure, great question. So there's been a lot of discussion regarding this interior courtyard. There have not been any formal renderings of what that space will look like. Again, that space really starts happening July-ish, is my best guess, 4 months from April, May, June, July. So July, August, most likely. I've been working alongside some of the garden committee members and recently knew and have found that there's probably more that needs to be communicated about that space. So we're contracting with KEI as well as our project manager, and I'm in active discussions with them to bring them back on site along with the architect as well as some of the committee members and really anybody that has interest in there. But we won't have artist renderings, so forth, of that space, but we'll have more plans based on your input into what that interior courtyard will look like.
Is the basic goal still to lower the upper?
Currently, yes. The current goal is to maybe lower that raised space to make it more functional for the entire community. I have heard over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, the concern regarding that, and that's why I'm going back to the architect as well as the landscape architect to see what options we have, because I know that there's been great concern regarding that elevated space that, to my knowledge, isn't heavily used by the residents currently, but I do know it's a beautiful space, and again, that's something that I know as a community we want to retain. So, yes, Ms. Skinner.
You're very reassuring. I was glad in a way to hear that. In fact, oh my goodness, there were some problems with the plumbing systems, construction. So it seems like it is really important to make sure that these problems that might come up, for instance, it would take thousands upon thousands of dollars to replace trees and the health benefit that they give to all of us, to look at that before the construction people get in there with their machines.
Correct, and that's why that's not happening till July, August. So we have a little bit of time, and that's where I wanted to engage you as residents. There is just a very, what I call pretty bare bones area, and that's where I wanted to work alongside you as residents to see ultimately what we wanted in that space. Again, realizing that we would be adding a ramp that would impact the interior courtyard for the functionality for, I guess, 9 months out of the year to help better facilitate wheelchairs and walkers and things of that nature up to the first floor instead of having to navigate those 2 stairs. But again, that interior courtyard, we do have a little bit of time, and I do plan and look forward to working alongside many of you that have input into that area. Again, we'll be working alongside a landscape architect, our own architect for a drainage standpoint and all those pieces. Again, I've talked with our project manager with LCS Development and started putting some things in motion already after having conversations with your resident council as well as a couple of the garden committee members.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Because I know there's also a number of perennials that are in the garden that may or may not be able to be transplanted either to the rooftop garden, the gazebo area. And again, I don't expect you as residents to break your backs to do that. That's why you're here. It's a maintenance-free lifestyle. But at the same time, if that's something that you want to be engaged in and you want to volunteer to assist with, I didn't want to take that away either. So that's where I really wanted to work hand in hand. And I just anticipated, and we're towards the end of March. This wasn't going to start happening until July, August, so I thought we had a little bit of time, but we're going to fast track that a little bit. So I just really wanted to get to April 4th. It's kind of my first milestone to get people in the door. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to let everybody know that, a lot of you know that my husband Roy is generally the guy out there in the garden. So, and Tyler and I and Roy have met with Roy and I have met with Tyler, and we'll be meeting with the garden committee on Monday afternoon so that we'll be really working hard with Tyler to make sure that that is a beautiful space, continues to be the beautiful space that it was this past summer. So we are working on it, and I thank Tyler for responding to our concerns.
And again, Arbor Day just happens to land on the last day of the Earth Day celebration. So Stacy Abbott, who I may have asked to come up at the end of this, just so you can again see the lovely face with the name of our Director of Community Life Services, who's going to be responsible for all activities. But again, Stacy and I, along with a few of her team members, have been in discussions of, is there something we can do for Earth Day to maybe help fast track some of the things that we're taking out. One item, I know that since we're on the topic of trees, one item that will be taken out is the dead pine tree off of Bradford Terrace in the back by the dumpsters. That's probably going to be coming down tomorrow. It is not good right now from a life standpoint of the pine tree. It is very, very large, and so it will be coming down because we have to put a couple construction things and whatnot there. So again, don't fret. That is supposed to come down. The tree hasn't been alive or is clinging on to its last root to stay alive. So again, that large pine tree, if you walk in the back, will be coming down probably tomorrow if I was a betting man. So, and lastly, the last question, and then I'll open up for any questions, is will we still have guest rooms during and after the renovation? During renovation, yes. As long as water tower building is open and able to be occupied, the guest rooms will be able to be reserved. Feel free to reserve those at the front desk with Lila, Famata, or one of the really try to keep it to those two. But if you have a weekend request, I'm sure Teresa's team can definitely handle that. And then afterwards, yes, we will have a guest suite. The location is to be determined. So again, we will make sure that option is still available. Just don't have anything right now that I'm confident in telling you where. So more to be seen on that front. But in the interim, up until water tower becomes basically unoccupied because of the renovations, you are welcome to have guests and visitors there. Again, as time progresses and as we get closer to when that will stop, we'll give you advance notice. Teresa's team will be in the loop as to say, okay, if you want a reservation, I will say, if you want a reservation for a guest room in October in Water Tower, that's not going to be available. But if you want a reservation in October for a guest room, we'll find something for you and your guest. Yeah, and if anybody wants to, offer up guest rooms and things of that nature, run an Airbnb, just kidding, we don't want to get into that business. All right, what other questions can I answer? What other questions might you have? Mr. Koff.
During construction, will the entire 5 floors of Bradford Terrace be empty?
No. So only 1 and 2 will be empty. Good question. The question was, will the 5 floors of Bradford Terrace ever be completely empty? The answer is no. We will occupy 3rd floor, 4th floor, and 5th floor as we are today. There is renovations that will be happening in those spaces, however, not nearly as heavy as floors 1 and 2. And we'll work with C.G. Schmidt. They work in hospitals and occupied buildings all the time to make sure that is safe. Because obviously that 3rd floor is our memory support neighborhood. And so as construction is going on there, we need to be, making sure A, staff are very aware, but also residents and resident family members are aware of what's going on there. Because they know that they're in our home. They know that you're in your home. And so that's why, again, we have points of contact for the construction process. What else? What other questions might you have? If there are none, that wraps up the agenda for today. We stayed underneath the 2 p.m. hours. So again, if you're here for the appraisal fair, stretch your legs, stay put, come on back. But if there's anything else I can answer for you, I will be up here for a little bit. Again, thank you for those tuning in. I hope we get some weather that, we see some sunshine here in the near future. And I don't want to say it, but I think I saw a little snow today. Did anybody else see that? Yeah? What's that doing in March, right? It's March 23rd. It shouldn't be here. I guess it is Wisconsin. So. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon and take care.